It is now my distinct honor to introduce a friend and colleague and mentor, founder and chair of the Children's Movement of Florida, Mr. Dave Lawrence Jr. Dave will moderate our first conversation, bringing the story of one Central Florida business leader who has made a big impact for young children. So Dave, over to you. We'll let you introduce our guests and tell us more.
It's good to be here. We begin this day with what I think is an extra special treat. It's an interview with both Harris Rosen, who is one of America's most significant philanthropists and a great example of a major league business success devoted to building a better community for everyone, and Dr. Charles Dziuban, a splendid example of an academic devoted to data measuring what actually gets done to help children and their families succeed. You've had a chance to see their bios, so I'm going to skip those, except to note that both are lifelong learners and book readers, my favorite sort of people. Mr. Rosen's most recent book focuses on Lawrence of Arabia. Dr. Dziuban's most recent book is 400 Souls, which is a significant survey of African-American history over the past 4 centuries. And I'm going to preface the interview with just 2 quotations. First comes from a column from Harris Rosen himself in the Orlando Business Journal, quote, "Close to 30 years ago, I came to the realization that I had been blessed beyond my wildest dreams. I felt compelled to offer a helping hand to those in need by implementing a program that provides free quality preschool and the promise of free 2 or 4 year college or vocational school. Decades later, that community is thriving." And a second quotation from our friend, the UCF professor, in his piece on EDUCAUSE review, headline, "Educational Equity, a New Kind of Philanthropy." Quote, "Harris Rosen is not the kind of well-intentioned philanthropist who makes decisions for a community that he does not come from or rarely interacts with. Rather, he worked with Tangelo Park community leaders to develop a program that would benefit the entire community, and he remains engaged with the community. The outcome is opportunity and equality." And I love one more thing from a column by the first-rate columnist for the Orlando Sentinel, who quoted Mr. Rosen as saying, quote, "There is as much intellectual talent in the underserved communities as there is in gated communities, and this investment pays off." So we've got about 12 minutes to go, and I'm going to start with Mr. Rosen, and he's going to tell us how the Tangelo Park project came to be. What is it? How does it work? Mr. Rosen.
Well, yes, thank you, sir. You were correct in addressing the innovation, which was me sitting at my desk and counting my blessings and thanking God for everything he has done to put me where I was, from the Lower East Side to where I was that day, having completed our 5th hotel and planning a 6th and a 7th was something that never in my life had I ever dreamed of. But I said it was time for me to offer a helping hand to those in need, as you quoted. And I called some friends of mine, and we discussed what kind of philanthropy I might become involved with. And we decided that there were underserved communities in Orlando that really needed some help. Crime was a problem. Not achieving certain educational standards was a problem. And so I needed a community, and called one of our county commissioners, Mabel Butler, who said, "I've got the perfect community for you." She drove me not too far to Tangelo Park, introduced me to the community. I fell in love with it immediately, understood that they were having some very severe issues there. And the Tangelo Park program is simple. The program involves a preschool component, making sure that all of the youngsters get off to a great start. So 2, 3, and 4-year-olds in in our underserved communities now have a wonderful head start. And they're way ahead of those in kindergarten who didn't have the preschool component. We work with them, work with their parents diligently to make sure that they're getting a quality education as they move through kindergarten, as they move through elementary school and middle school and high school. As they begin high school, we make sure that those who have an interest in advancing their education will do well in high school, will graduate from high school, and then we'll have an opportunity to go on to a 4-year college, 2-year college, or a vocational environment. Of course, Chuck will be able to give you all of the data, but I'm proud to say that high school graduation rates in our underserved communities have improved rather significantly from 45 or 55% to virtually 100%. And our college graduation rates have improved dramatically as well. And also crime, which was incredibly disruptive in both the Tangelo Park and Parramore communities, it is now no longer a significant issue. In fact, the sheriff mentioned to me not too long ago that he and all of his deputies consider Tangelo Park to be a quiet oasis. And so we've come a long way. We've been doing our Tangelo Park program for about 28 years and doing our Parramore program for about 6-7 years. And recently, a wonderful organization adopted the Eatonville community, Travel and Leisure, and soon they will create the preschool component. They've already taken on the college component, and that will be 3 underserved communities here in Central Florida that are experiencing a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful initiative. Our hope and our prayer, David, is that this is something that others will replicate throughout America, because we do believe in our heart of hearts that it will change America one underserved community at a time. That's our hope, that's our prayer, that's our dream. And we're at 3 now here in Orlando. We believe that there'll be another opportunity in Indiana, and we're hoping and praying that that will come to fruition. Business people should be interested in this kind of initiative. I'll call it an investment, because the return on investment is $7 for every dollar invested. So if you are business oriented, this is something you might want to look at. No matter what business you are in, it will help your business to have underserved communities adopt a Tangelo Park program. And that's our hope, and that's our dream.
So Harris, that's really helpful. And I'm going to come back to you in just a few minutes. Professor, I think you want to be called Chuck, so I'm going to call you Chuck. Talk to us about what the data shows. We're on the right side of the angels here, but we've also got to do something that makes a difference. Make the case of what the data shows, please.
Oh, I'd be happy to. I really appreciate your giving us the opportunity. And David, here's another book I'm reading. Okay? Here's another book I'm reading. You know,
you're one of the smartest people I know. Good.
Absolutely. Let you do the quotes. Let me give you a quote from this book. I feel optimistic that what made the country reach moments of greatness can make our nation even greater. I am so on board with that statement. Thank you so much for all that you're doing. Let me preface this by saying to the 610 participants, I want you to reach out to me through David Lawrence for all of our data. We give it all away. You can have it all. We will give everything we have to you in terms of what we've done. We have been tracking Tangelo for the last 25 years. Interestingly enough, for the first 5 years, Harris said, we don't want any data. It's just the right thing to do. Right, Harris?
That's correct.
Okay. And then people began to notice, and they began saying, where's the data? Where's the data? Where's the data? They kept asking for data. So here's the data. I am terrified to do this in 3 minutes, but let me give you the summary of what we know about the impact of Tangelo Park. First of all, you are the premier advocate for early childhood education. Everybody knows the impact that early childhood education has. And as I read your book, thank you for establishing the VPK program in Florida. That is an amazing piece of work. And we know that Heckman has just published a study that says, don't necessarily pay attention to these cognitive scores, that in the long run, life is better for students who have preschool. He's proved that unequivocally. Here's what we know about Tangelo. One is our students are ready for kindergarten. You emphasize that through cognitive development, through executive function, through social and emotional skills. When our children go to kindergarten, they are absolutely ready. High school graduation rates now in Tangelo Park, 100%. 100% of our students graduate from high school. Crime is down 80% in Tangelo Park from where we began. The sheriff called it you have to be very careful to get the right metrics about this. Okay, now, very often in these programs, what people will say, how many graduated from high school? How many went to college? How many graduated? Divide. It's absolutely the wrong metric. You have to be careful of these metrics. Here's the right metric. If we had not been in Tangelo Park, the expectation for college graduation would have been to have 35 college graduates. To date in Tangelo Park, we have 160 college graduates. We have changed the odds in Tangelo Park from 9-1 against graduating from college to 3-1 in favor. We have removed obstacles and changed the odds. Those are the correct metric. We began presenting these data all over the country. And the thing that people said to us, oh, that's very interesting, but what is the ROI? What's the return on investment? So I scoured around the country trying to find an economist to do a return on investment study in Tangelo Park. We found one. Lance Lochner at the University of Chicago, who's now the candidate chair for human capital and equity in Canada, did the study and came back with 9-1. 7-1, excuse me. 7-1 goes back to society for every dollar invested, from reduced crime, college graduation, and the preschool effect. Okay, we have these data. I have that report. I'll be happy to send it to you. These are the data. It is incontrovertible. Tangelo Park works. And I sent you data, and in your book, and I've got to get off here, you quoted David Brooks, who said, we have more than enough funds to do all kinds of the things that you're trying to get accomplished. And he said, we just misallocate the funds. And I sent you some data that my colleague and I, Colm Holland in Dublin, ran. And if we took one Super Bowl beer commercial and devoted it to Tangelo Park, we could do 100 Tangelos in the country. I got to quit. Please ask me for the data. I will give it to you all. Thank
Chuck,
you, David, for doing this.
Thank you, Chuck. This was a great report. I'm actually thrilled by what Harris Rosen has done here. The best you can do, I've always been told, is to be a good example. This is an extraordinary example. We've only got 2.5 minutes left, Harris. Do us a favor and make the best case you can that other business people, other philanthropists ought to be doing this.
Well, if you love America, and my hope is that most of us do, if you believe that Black Lives Matter, and most of us do, but if you want to do something about making sure that Black Lives Matter, this is the perfect example. Underserved communities need help. Imagine what the United States of America would look like if every underserved community in America had a Tangelo Park program. We would not recognize America. All of these children would get off to a wonderful start educationally. All of them would have an opportunity to go to college or trade school. Crime in the neighborhood would decline dramatically. Imagine what effect that would have on this great nation. Yes, there's so many things that we can do, but this is not difficult. When I was in the Army, I learned a couple of things. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. This is simple. It's not complicated. We've been doing this for 25 years. It's not complicated. We have the template. Follow the template, adopt a community. If whatever business you're in, you will benefit, no doubt about it. So I say, God bless you all, but please consider adopting an underserved community in your neighborhood. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Well, you did so great. And Harris, you're an American treasure. Thank you so much. God bless you both.
God bless you.